Do you believe that there are some universal ultimate truths about our life, our world and the universe? If yes, have you ever have the thought about why most people cannot get to know that truth? Let's hear a story from the Taoist Master Zhuangzi, and it may shed some light for us to find an answer. Long time ago, there was a god in a large river. Once it was the period of the autumnal flood, when all the hundreds of streams were, all discharging themselves into the large river, and created a very great flooding. The course of the large river was made enormously wide and deep. The god of that large river was so proud, and laughed with delight. He thought that he was in the top of the world. But then the river god, along with the course of the river, walked eastward towards the open mouth to the North Sea. The river god looked and could not be able to find the boundary of the great North Sea. He then sighed and felt ashamed of his arrogance and ignorance. The river god subsequently spoke to the god of the North Sea. "If I have not come to your presence, I will put myself in danger with my pride and hastiness, and would have been laughed at by other great minds for my foolishness and ignorance." The god of the North Sea then replied the river god, "Well, you cannot discuss the great wide sea, with a frog dwelling in a well all his life, for its understanding is confined by its living place. You cannot discuss the ice with the short-lived insect of summer, as it knows nothing beyond its lifespan season. You cannot discuss the Tao with the narrow-minded scholars, since they are bound by their limited learning and vision. And although I am the god of North Sea, and all the waters from the large and small rivers are being discharged into me, I know I am not big at all, as comparing to the heaven and earth. Furthermore, from the perspective of the universe, the North Sea but merely like a small stone in a wood. So, we should understand that the human beings are having many constraints and limitations. Since the day we realize the fact that our Earth is not the center of the universe, and our planet is as small as a tiny little sand in our galaxy, we should come to the sense that we are not that special at all. We are bound by the limitation of our experience and knowledge. The frog living all its life in a small well, and the insect that has only a lifespan for the summer season, will find it extremely difficult to understand the concept of a much larger space as sea, and a much longer period of time like the 4 seasons. Those concepts are totally beyond their understandings and imaginations. Likewise, we are also confined by our own experience, knowledge and spatial and temporal limitation. Human beings are the cleverest species in our plant. We have used our brain power to explore our world and even into the vast limitless outer space. Yet, we should understand that we are no difference from the frog and the insect in the story, as compared ourselves to the universe. Actually, the more that we know, the more we realize that we don't know. The ultimate truth of our universe is beyond the human comprehension. It is a concept so big and complicated that we are unable to easily and thoroughly figure it out. We human is just like the frog and the insect, that even someone will come and tell us the concept of the sea and 4 seasons, we will not be able to understand it. Our language is another limitation to us. The Taoist founder, Lao Tzu, ever wrote in the very first line of his only book, Tao Te Ching, explaining the Tao, or the way or the absolute as follows. The Tao, that can be explained in language, is not the eternal Tao. The name, that can be denoted in word, is not the eternal name. The limitation of our language means the limitation of our understanding towards the world. Wittgenstein, one of the greatest philosophers of the 20th century, proposed that If one cannot describe something in words, then it does not exist to us. So, by definition, languages are limiting our way of thinking as well as the acquiring of knowledge. We cannot speak and think about the things if the words don't exist in our language system. Sometimes, this makes us unaware of some concepts others are able to discuss, and other times, this limitation makes us incapable of speaking about things of which we are aware. Also, we may notice that throughout our history, many of the sages and enlightened minds do not speak very publicly about the truth, because they know it is not easy to explain it directly and plainly to everyone. But they will try to express the truth indirectly through the use of metaphors, similes, stories, parables, riddles, etc. Yet, still those are indeed not the effective ways to transfer the concept of the truth. Indeed, most of the enlightened teachers understand that the ultimate truth of the universe can only be taught, but cannot be told. In short, the ultimate truth is a concept that our human language lacks the exact expression to describe it easily and thoroughly. In Zen Buddhism, the Zen masters always say that the teaching of enlightenment can only be initiated and passed through the imprint of the hearts. Taoist masters say that the Tao is formless and its greatness cannot be described by words. Therefore, the only feasible way to understand the ultimate truth of the universe is to learn it via the practice of meditation and introspection. Lastly, if you want to grasp and understand the ultimate truth, the very first thing you should do is to stop being arrogant and narrow-minded. Be humble and prepare oneself by emptying one's mind to accept the new things. A cup which is full cannot be put in with any further water. It needs to empty its space first, by driving out all the existing water inside, then it can be poured in with something new. Similar to what the river god had done by willing to go out of his dwelling place, to the open sea and to observe and learn, we will then be able to improve ourselves continuously, and get closer to the truth of the Tao,